Welcome to Honeybee Yoga Studio. My name is Lindsay, and I create yoga videos aimed at making you feel fantastic. And today is the third video in my Yoga for Beginners series. So we're going to explore a warrior flow, which includes 3 standing warrior postures. We're going to do a little bit to warm up, enjoy our warrior flow, and then enjoy a reclined stretch to end our practice together. So to get started, let's come to a seated posture, whatever feels good for you. We're going to feel a nice long spine, hands rest on our knees or our thighs. We'll take a nice big inhale, and then as we exhale, maybe our eyelids get heavy. And as usual, we'll take a few breaths to come into our practice. Feel that inhale as it enters through your mouth, through your nostrils, travels down your throat, expands your chest, expands your belly, and then feel all of those opposing sensations as you exhale. We'll enjoy maybe 4 to 6 breaths, and as we do, we'll remind ourselves that we're here for our practice, so we don't have to worry about our to-do list, our chores list. Just worry about feeling your breath as it moves in and out of your body, and feeling your body move as you flow in and out of postures. About 3 more breaths. Really enjoy the breath as you inhale, filling up all those spaces. And then relax and release into the support of the earth as you exhale. We'll bring a little wiggle into those fingertips. We'll start to open those eyelids if they got heavy. We'll allow our hands to come down beside our thighs. And let's sweep our hands wide and tall with an inhale, hands meeting above our head. And then exhale wide and heavy back to the earth. Again, a nice big inhale, hands are wide, meeting above our head. This time as we exhale, left hand is going to come to the outside of that right knee. Right hand is going to come into the earth somewhere behind our right hip. We'll take an inhale to lengthen our spine. Crown of our head pulls up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, we'll release into that twist. That left hand pressing on the outside of the right knee to help deepen the twist. Just enough so you feel a nice release. Maybe that gaze comes over your right shoulder. And we'll enjoy about 2 breaths here. Another big inhale whenever it comes. And enjoy that slow and steady exhale. When our next inhale comes, we'll slowly start to face forward, sweeping our hands back up into the sky, and then exhaling to the opposite side. So right hand to the outside of our left knee, left hand somewhere behind that left hip. Again, an inhale to feel nice and tall. And then an exhale to twist deeper. That gaze may be coming out of our left shoulder. And as you get deeper into your yoga practice, you'll see that it's quite common to exhale into twists, exhale into folds. And it's just because we can a little bit easier create some space through our diaphragm without the breath being in there. Another big inhale, crown of our head reaches tall, and our exhale. We'll come to face forward, And then we're going to roll forward into our version of tabletop. So I'm going to roll over my crossed knees. Knees come underneath our hips, hands come underneath our shoulders. Again, we can tuck our toes, tops of the feet into the earth, whichever feels best for our body. And then we'll move, as always, into our cat-cow breath. So in our happy little cow, that belly button dips as our tailbone and our chin lift. Shoulders melt away from our jaw. And then we'll exhale. That tailbone tucks, our chin tucks, and our spine presses up to the ceiling. Use your breath, your body as a guide for how quickly or how slowly you move. Encouraging that spine to smile and then frown as we create lots of space between each vertebrae, between our shoulder blades. And invite any organic movement that might feel good for you. I personally like to bend my elbows, send my hips a little bit further back as I transition in and out of my angry cat and my happy little cow. We'll take about 2 more breaths in each our cat and our cow. Remembering in our angry cat that belly button is pressing up to our spine reaching up to the ceiling. And in our happy little cow, our belly's relaxed as both our spine and our belly button pull to the floor. Eventually, we'll all make our way to our neutral tabletop. Tailbone pulls behind us, crown of our head reaches forward. We're going to pivot those toes from our knees to swing to the left side. Gaze comes over that left shoulder towards our left heel. Let's take 2 big breaths here, really expanding through our rib cage. Feel that right side body gain some space. After our second exhale, we'll pivot to the opposite side. So those feet coming to the right, gaze coming over our right shoulder towards that right heel. And again, enjoying about 2 breaths, really expanding through that left rib cage. Eventually those feet pivot back behind us. And just like in our video 2, we're going to come into our downwards facing dog. So from our tabletop, those toes are going to tuck behind us. We're going to start to press through our toes, press through our hands, so we can lift our knees off of the ground, send those hips to the wall behind us. Now, as I mentioned in video 2, you can always keep your knees down if that's what you prefer, and just send your hips behind you, pressing through your hands. If those knees are lifted, that head is hanging between your biceps, almost feels like your inner elbows are shining towards each other. We've got a nice long spine, tailbone reaches to the back of your practice area, and you can have a gentle or generous bend in your knees. If those knees are lifted, we're going to walk our dogs by pedaling our feet, bending one knee, pressing the opposite heel towards the ground. And as we do, we almost want to pretend like someone's standing behind us. Maybe they're holding on to the back of our pants and they're pulling towards the back of our mat. So it almost feels like that weight is getting sent to our feet. Whenever our next exhale comes, we'll let those feet come to stillness so our gaze can come up to our hands. We're going to walk those feet up towards our hands. We're going to let our feet go a little bit wider than hip distance apart. And we're going to come into our version of Ragdoll, which is a really deep, relaxed forward fold. So you can have a bend in your knees if that feels good for you. You can have your hands come to the floor. You really want to have your shoulders, your head hanging forward, nice and heavy. If your hands are hanging towards the ground, you can always lift them into opposite elbows. And really what we're trying to do is lift that tailbone behind us up towards the sky. And then like a waterfall, our spine kind of flows forward, falls forward as the weight from our head, our shoulders, and maybe our arms pulls that spine down towards the ground. We'll stay here for maybe 2 or 3 breaths. As always, any organic movement is welcome. Maybe a gentle sway side to side. Maybe a little nod of your head, yes. Shake of your head, no. If our hands are lifted into our elbows, we'll have them hang towards the earth. We're going to heel toe those feet to come hip distance apart. We're going to slide those hands up our legs so we can come into our halfway lift. Remember, that's where our spine parallels the floor. Tailbone pulls behind us, crown of our head pulls forward. Those hamstrings are stretching. Then we'll exhale to melt forward and then slowly come all the way up to standing. So lifting your upper body to stack above your lower body nice and slow. Sweep those hands tall and then exhale those hands to your hips. So time to come into our warriors. So we'll start with our warrior 1. So let's bring those feet up towards the front of our mat, front of our practice area. We're going to keep that right foot right where it is, and we're going to take a generous step back with our left. Now that left foot should be on a railroad track compared to the right. We aren't on a balance beam. Railroad tracks. If you're using a mat, even as wide as your mat. That left heel is in the ground, and those left toes are pointing towards maybe 1 or 2 o'clock. Not all the way to the long edge of the mat, but pointing forward. We're going to sink into that front right knee. We're going to take those hips, our belly button, our heart, our shoulders, and we're going to try to shine it towards the front of our mat, the front of our practice area. You should feel a nice long left leg pressing in through that entire left foot. That right knee is somewhere above our right foot, our right heel. Hips sinking forward, shoulders lifting. And we have a nice long spine. Now you have a couple options for your arms and hands. You can bring them to your hips. You can open them up towards the sky. You can open them wide, bending at the elbows. This is called cactus arms. So whatever feels good for you, maybe bring them into prayer in front of your heart. Whatever we're doing with our arms, we want to make sure that collarbone, our shoulders are nice and relaxed. Let's take another big breath here. From here, we're going to start to transition into our warrior 2. We're going to take that back left foot and we're going to pivot on that heel so that that left foot is paralleling the back of our mat. So now we are facing to the side of our mat. You might want to bring those feet a little bit closer. Maybe your heels are in a single line. As you face towards the long edge of your mat, you'll see we've gone from facing forward to facing to the side. So those hips are side by side, facing in the same direction as your left toes. Again, nice soft shoulders and collarbone. And let's reach those arms wide. Let's sink into that front right knee. And we'll make sure that knee isn't tracking towards the center of our mat, but staying stacked above our knee, or sorry, stacked above our heel of our foot. This is our warrior 2. We're bringing our gaze through those right fingertips. We feel strong, we feel sturdy. Dare I say we feel like a warrior. We're going to exalt our warrior, which is where we flip that right hand so the palm reaches up to the sky. We're going to reach that right hand tall, left hand rests on our left leg. So we're reaching that right hand almost like we're reaching behind us. And then we'll extend our warrior by bringing those arms back to neutral, paralleling the earth, and then bringing that right forearm into our right thigh and reaching that left hand above us or all the way towards the front of our mat. Again, we're keeping those hips side by side and facing towards the side of our mat. Let's do that one more time, but let our breath guide our movement. So a big inhale to stretch. Exhale, lift back up to our warrior 2. Inhale to reach tall, big stretch. Exhale to fold forward, back, forearm down to our thigh, left arm reaching forward. We'll inhale for a big stretch here, and then we'll exhale back up to our warrior 2. We're going to sweep that left hand forward to meet our right hand. We're going to lift those left heels coming onto our left toes, and you'll see we're in our, hopefully familiar from last video, nice tall lunge. We're going to move into our warrior 3. So we're going to keep that right leg nice and strong and sturdy and straight, and we're going to stack our body above that right leg like we're an airplane. Now thinking about those hips, instead of facing forward, instead of facing to the side, we're going to have them try to face towards the ground. Same with our belly button, our heart, and our shoulders. Now at any time, you can let that left foot stay down to the ground. You can bring your hands to a couch, to the wall, to a chair, whatever feels good. I'd recommend letting your gaze come to something that isn't moving. If you're watching your dog run in circles, it might throw off your balance. So we'll get a little bounce in that back left foot. And as we're ready, we're going to shift our weight into that foundational right leg. We're going to start to pivot at our hips so that our left leg raises behind us. Our front body comes to parallel the earth. And then from here, just like in our warrior 1, we can bring our hands above our head. We can bring them wide. We can bring them to our heart. And again, you can always lower those left toes to the ground. You can always bring your fingertips to the ground. It's whatever feels good for you. You can always work your way to whatever version of the posture is ideal for you. We'll take a nice big inhale and a nice big exhale. Then we'll let those left toes come back towards the ground. We're going to pivot both toes so they face to the left side. And as we visited our straddle before, this time we're going to come into our standing straddle. So nice big inhale, and then we'll fold forward. Just like in our ragdoll, you can bring hands to the ground, hands to opposite elbows, whatever feels good. And we're using this straddle as a transition and to kind of catch our breath, let our legs get a little bit of respite. So we'll take about 3 breaths here, and then we'll move to the opposite side. Let that upper body hang heavy, that tailbone behind you lift. Again, if you want to bend into those knees a little bit, sway side to side, go for it. And then as we feel that heart and our lungs come back to their natural cadence, we'll we'll start to lift ourselves out of our straddle, maybe bending through our knees, maybe bringing our hands through our thighs. And we slowly lift. Now we're going to do that warrior series on the opposite side. So those left toes are going to point to the back of our mat, and we'll start in our warrior one. So again, feet like railroad tracks. That right foot steps generously behind us, right toes to about maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock. Sinking into that left knee, our hips, our belly button, heart, shoulders are going to try to shine towards the back of our mat. Long right leg, pressing into the entirety of that right foot. And that left knee is somewhere above that left foot, left heel. Once again, we have options with our arms. Stay by our side. Maybe they lift tall. I'm going to come into a prayer with hands pressed together in front. Staying here for maybe a breath or two. Just feeling the differences from one side of our body to the other side. Know that differences are more common than not. One side might feel a bit stronger, a bit looser, a bit more mobile. That's totally normal. We're going to move into our warrior two. So just like last time, that back foot, we let our toes face to the side. Those heels come a little bit closer together in a line. So a little bit more like we're standing on a balance beam. Our hands parallel the earth. We sink into that front left knee. Our belly button, heart, our shoulders shine to the side. And that knee tries to stay on top of our heel. That gaze this time comes out our left fingertips. Again, nice soft shoulders, but we feel strong in our warrior. Hopefully now that it's our second time in the posture, it feels a bit more familiar. Let's come back to our exalting and extending of our warrior. So this time that left palm faces up to the sky. We reach our left hand tall, right hand rests on our right leg. Big inhale as we reach that left hand behind us, keeping our low body exactly as it was before. And then we'll come back through neutral, arms parallel the earth. And then we'll bring that left forearm to rest on our left thigh, and we reach that right hand all the way above our head to reach forward. And get a nice big breath here as we reach. And just like the opposite side, we'll move through one time with the flow of our breath. So we'll take a big inhale to stretch. Exhale to lift through our neutral warrior. And then inhale to lift that left hand high. Right arm rests on that right leg. We'll exhale through neutral, bringing that left hand to our left thigh. And then inhale to stretch forward. When our exhale comes, we'll come back through neutral, hands to our hips. From here, we'll sweep that right hand forward, lifting onto those right toes. And just like last time, we'll come into our warrior three. So let's bring those hands down towards our hips. We're going to start to bounce into that right foot. And this time we're going to let our weight come into that left leg, lengthening our left leg. Our hips, belly button, heart, and shoulders are shining towards the earth. And we'll see if we can parallel that upper body, that right leg, towards the earth. Option of bringing those right toes down, our our fingertips down towards the ground. Or you can bring those arms wide, reach forward, bring those hands into prayer. And if you fall out, just like I did right there, it's no big deal. Just come back to whatever version of Warrior 3 works for you today. Maybe it's breezy where you are and it keeps knocking you over. That's what I feel like right now. Last big breath, and then let those right toes come back to the earth. We're going to step those right toes back up towards the front of our mat. We're going to take a nice big inhale, sweep those hands tall, and then exhale to forward fold. Fingertips come down towards the earth. We're going to take an inhale to lift into that halfway lift. Spine parallels the earth. Last big hamstring stretch. And then as we exhale, hands to the earth, and we'll step back into a low plank. So feet towards the back of the mat, knees down. From here, we'll swing our feet to one side, bum cheekers to the earth, lengthen those legs forward. You can either keep your legs long, or you can bring a bend in, and we're going to just lower our spine back towards the earth. You can use your hands on your knees to slowly let you come back down, or if you want, reach those hands forward, go nice and slow, and challenge your core. Bring that whole body down. We're going to hug our knees into our chest, give a nice big squeeze, nice big hug. Take a little rock side to side. Then we're going to take a nice passive reclined stretch here. We're going to let our feet come down to the earth, knees bent. Soles of our feet come together, knees splay wide. You can shimmy those heels of your feet closer up towards your body. You can have them go a little bit longer, whatever feels good for you. You're going to feel those thighs, those hips externally rotating, just like we were in Warrior 2. You can bring those hands maybe to your belly, maybe to the side, whatever feels good. And we're going to enjoy this nice relaxed cobbler or butterfly for about 3 breaths. So just let gravity do the work here. Nothing strenuous, nothing intense. After that Warrior 3, maybe you feel yourself catching your breath. Feel that heart rate come back to its natural cadence. And now we'll start to move towards our final resting pose, our version of Shavasana, but it's up to you. If you're really enjoying this butterfly, then hang out here for a few more breaths. If it feels better to close those knees like a book, feet in the earth, and support that low spine, you can hang out right here. Or maybe your traditional final resting pose with legs long in the earth. And you can choose what to do with your arms, by your side, on your belly, maybe up above your head. And just like as we started, we'll finish with a few breaths just to let all that movement settle into our bodies. So maybe those eyelids get heavy. And we allow ourselves to come back and focus on our breath as our body enjoys stillness. So really allow yourself to take a long, slow breaths. You've got nowhere to go. No one's expecting anything from you, just you and your breath. Let's take 2 more breaths, but let's make them purposefully big. So whenever your next inhale comes, fill up that chest, fill up that belly, and really feel that belly button lift. Exhale, heavy and slow. Our second breath allows for an even deeper breath. That belly button lifts, our rib cage expands. And a slow and steady exhale. We'll bring a wiggle into our fingertips and our toes. We'll bring a bend into our knees, bring the soles of our feet into the earth. Let's take a windshield wiper, letting our knees and our shins fall from one side and then the opposite, just like the windshield wipers on a car, slowly moving back and forth. And then the next time those knees fall to your favorite side, we'll let them hang out on that side as we tuck into a little ball. We'll use that upper hand to press ourselves up, lengthen that upper leg, and we'll meet in whatever seated posture feels good for us. From here, we'll close our practice with 2 big breaths together. Hands by our side, inhaling tall as those hands meet. We'll exhale and let them come back to the earth. Doing that one more time. Big inhale, reaching tall. This time as our hands meet, they'll press together into prayer, melt down to our heart, and we'll take a little bow for ourselves and a bow for our practice together. I really hope you're enjoying this beginner series. If you are, give this video a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments just what you think and how it's going and what you're enjoying. If you are enjoying it, I'll continue to make more videos just like this. My next video is going to be about balances. So 1 or 2 low balances and then a couple standing balances. But like I said, if you are enjoying it, let me know. And maybe I'll do some twists and some other flows and whatnot. So let me know. If you aren't already a subscriber, I'd love to have you as a subscriber by hitting that red subscribe button. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Take care.